Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY, where I'd love to bring you the best tips and tools for creating beautiful home decor on a budget. Today is part 2 of my top patriotic summer home decor DIYs. I have 12 more projects for you today, so let's get started. For our first DIY, we're making a really simple flag with 1 pack of 1-gallon paint sticks, some small wood stars, some chalk paint, some beads, and some jute twine. So for this flag, I'm making it hang down. I'm using 6 of the 1-gallon paint sticks. I'm going to paint 3 of them with my white chalk paint and 3 of them with my red chalk paint called Crimson. I really love this color and the blue that we're going to use as well. So go ahead and do your 3 red sticks and your 3 white sticks. And then I'm taking 8 of these, I'd call them small to medium wood stars from Michael's, and painting those white as well. Then once our paint sticks are dry, I'm flipping them over and hot gluing 3 pieces of a large craft stick to the back to hold all of them together. If you're new to my channel and like budget home decor DIYs, I hope you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button, and then when the bell appears, hit that again so YouTube will notify you whenever I upload new content. So here I'm just taking a piece of painter's tape and making my line where I'm going to now paint with my blue chalk paint called Ocean. It's a beautiful kind of country-ish blue. And then once that's done, go ahead and remove the painter's tape and see that nice crisp line. Now this looked a little too new and bright, so I took some of my antique wax by Waverly, and once the paint was dry, I just kind of brushed some on and then rubbed it out, and did this a couple of times until I had a nice antiqued looking flag. And then I did also take my sanding sponge to kind of rub in some of the antique wax as well. And I just did this until I liked the look of the paint. Next, I took my 8 white stars and laid them out in 3 rows like this, and then just hot glued those on. Taking a piece of jute twine, I made a nice big knot on one end, and then I'm going to use about 12 of these darker wood beads that I have in my stash, tied another knot on the other end, and I'm just hot gluing this to the back of my flag to be a way to hang it up and just make a nice little decorative touch with those wood beads. And here's the finished look for our first project. I hope you guys are excited and enjoying these easy budget patriotic and summer home decor DIYs. For DIY number 2, I'm going to show you an easy way to make a patriotic table runner using a burlap table runner, some heat bond, and one of these bandanas from Dollar Tree. We're also going to use a couple stars from a sign to use as a template. So go ahead and take your flag bandana or whatever bandana you want to use, iron it out, and then you're going to iron the heat bond to the piece of fabric. Then taking 2 different sizes of stars, I'm just with a Sharpie marker tracing out as many stars as I can get out of this one bandana. And then we'll go ahead and cut those out. You can see some are going to be all stars, some will be all stripes, some are a combination. So here's all the stars, and then I'm going to cut all of those out and kind of pin them with straight pins to my table runner until I like how they're grouped together. Then taking your iron, you're going to peel off the backing from 1 star at a time and just lay it flat down on your burlap runner and press it with your iron until it sticks. This is really easy to do. This heat bond is pretty foolproof, and you could really do this with any theme. even if you don't want to do patriotic. And I just love how this turned out with absolutely no sewing involved. Looks really great with a red tablecloth underneath. Here's just a closer up look at some of the stars and this burlap runner that I did buy on Amazon. DIY number 3 is super cute and easy, probably for a tiered tray, using 3 of these chunky wood stars, some poster letters, scrapbook paper, and chalk paint. The first thing I'm going to do after removing the jute string is give all 3 of my stars a coat of white Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to go really well all around the edges and then also on the back of the star. We don't need to paint the front because we're going to be putting some scrapbook paper on the front of each of our stars. So I really liked this scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. It's like red, white, and blue whitewashed barnwood, and so I'm just placing my stars on the back and tracing and cutting out 3 stars from the scrapbook paper that we will then trim up and Mod Podge to the front. And here's the Mod Podge. You can see there that 2 of my stars have a lot of white on them. So I did go back to my scrap of the scrapbook paper and cut some other pieces that once you see the finished product, you'll see I got a little bit more color in there. But anyway, Mod Podge on the star, spritz the back of the paper, and then let that dry completely. Then using sandpaper or a sanding sponge, I'm just going downward on the edges to make sure the paper is nice and trimmed. Then taking these poster letters from Dollar Tree, I'm just putting USA on the centers of my chunky stars. So cute and simple, and I can't wait to add these to my tiered tray for this summer. For project number 4, we are going to make this Patriotic Rag Wreath using a wreath form, 7 different fat quarters from Walmart, and this mat and rotary cutter. So I'm going to cut pieces that are 7.5 inches by 2 inches, and I just cut up all of these fat quarters. I'll tell you as I tie them on the wreath form how many I used in each layer, but I'm just making cuts here for 7.5 inches, and then I'm going to take my ruler and cut 2-inch sections. If I did this again, I might make them a little skinnier, like maybe 1.5 inches. So there's 6 sections around the circle of the wreath. In this outer ring, I put 7 knots or pieces of fabric in each section for a total of 42 pieces of fabric around the farthest, largest outside ring of this wreath. Here you can see I'm just making a pattern with all the different designs that I have. So like I said, 7 in each section of the largest, then 6 in each section, then 5 in each section, and then the smallest circle 4 in each section. And I just kind of overlapped the patterns there, and then took this God Bless America with the hanging star from Dollar Tree and glued it to the back of my wreath. And then this beautiful patriotic decor is finished. I love hanging this on my door in the summer. It's just so fun and cute and festive. DIY number 5 is super simple, but I love how it looks. You need 5 of the 1-gallon paint sticks and whatever colors of paint you want. Now I'm only making 1 star and I used all 3 colors, but you could definitely make completely red, white, or blue stars, hang them together. It would look really awesome. So for mine, I'm painting 2 of my paint sticks white, 2 of them with the crimson red, and I'm going to paint 1 of them with the ocean blue. Go ahead and let those dry completely. Then I did sand them down a little bit to make them look a little worn. Now I'm going to lay them out in a star pattern, trying to have them go be the top and then the bottom. You'll kind of see how that last red one across the back is on underneath everything, and then just trying to overlap them so each stick is connected to the rest. Once you get your star how you want it, you can use wood glue or tacky glue or even hot glue. I like using the tacky glue because then I can move the pieces around a little bit before they are completely dry. But just glue all your pieces and then make sure to put something heavy on it. It kind of holds it flat until everything is dry. I think this is so simple and cute, and you could make a bunch of these even in different sizes, maybe with craft sticks, and just have quite a variety. That would be very affordable, patriotic summer decor. DIY 6 is also using paint sticks to make this monogram flag, but we're using the 5-gallon paint sticks, our 3 colors of chalk paint, a couple jumbo craft sticks. So here you can see I have 7 of the large paint sticks that I cut the handle off. I painted 4 of them red and 3 of them white. And then once they're dry, flipping them over, putting a little space between, and then we're going to use 5 of these giant craft sticks from Walmart to glue our palette together to make our flag. Then once that's dry, go ahead and take some painter's tape and tape off the section that you want to paint blue for the corner. And again, let that dry. Now I decided to, instead of putting a star, I put a J for our last name, just used a stencil from Walmart, filled it in with a paint marker. Then to add a little more dimension, I went around my flag with some nautical rope and then also around the blue rectangle. And that's it. How simple and rustic and farmhouse is this patriotic monogram palette wood flag. For project 7, I made a big statement with just a few items. I have 5 of these patriotic fans from Dollar Tree and 2 of the metal mop handles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 mop handles, and I took the handle part off, which left an empty metal side, and then taking the one piece that has the lines on it where the actual mop head was, sticking those 2 together, and then putting one of my 5 fans right at the center. I have it opened up all the way. I'm going to make a small hole there underneath the plastic, and I am going to put this whole thing together with just zip ties. There is no glue involved, and you guys are going to love how this turned out. Just slip that zip tie in and just tighten it up around the mop handle, and we're going to do that with all 5 of our fans, going from this center one out to both the left and the right. And how gorgeous is this? Each fan is held on to the mop handle with 2 zip ties. And then once that was all put together, I did put another zip tie on this far right, one in the middle, and one on the left. And I have the mop handle just sitting on the edge, and then I taped down these 3 zip ties just to hold this in place. I love this, and it literally took me like 15 minutes to put together. I think this was my favorite project from this video. DIY number 8 are some burlap and star candle jars. We're using some burlap ribbon. 3 jars are chalk paint, and this 3-star hanging sign from Dollar Tree. So I really love the shape of these stars, but I'm not a big fan of the glitter. So we're going to remove all 3 of those from this strand and go ahead and paint them with our more muted farmhouse colors in this blue, white, and the crimson red. Next, I'm taking some of this, I believe is about 6 or 8 inches wide, piece of burlap ribbon. I'm cutting 3 pieces that will wrap all the way around our jars, and we're going to do 3 of these. Now, it was a little too tall, so here you can see I'm trimming all 3 pieces at the same time, flipping it over and trimming another piece off the other side just to make it a little more narrow. I'm then going to take out a few strands from the top and bottom, make it look a little bit more rustic, and then we're going to hot glue this burlap around each of our jars. And then once our stars are dry, we're going to put some jute twine, just outline each of our stars, give them a little more farmhouse look and added texture. So just one little side at a time, and then at the end cut it off, and we're going to do this to all 3 of our stars. Once those are done, we're going to also take some jute twine, we gotta love our jute twine, and glue it around the top of each of our jars. Then the last step will be just to hot glue one of our stars to each of our jars. These could be used to put flowers in. You could put candle, tea lights inside. I did raise one of them up on an inverted flower pot. You can do that too to add some added and different heights. For DIY number 9, we're going to make 3 of these stars and stripes tag signs using these Wi-Fi tags and some scrapbook paper. I had some other things here that I possibly was going to use, but in the end I just decided to Mod Podge some star and stripe scrapbook paper on the back of these 3 tags. So I removed the jute string and then using some Mod Podge on the tag, spraying some water on my paper. I'm going to make one tag that has the blue paper with the white stripes or white stars, and then 2 of my tags are going to have red and white striped scrapbook paper Mod Podged on. Once that scrapbook paper is completely dry, we're using our Fiskars fingertip craft knife and a cutting mat just to go around and get a nice clean cut edge on all 3 of our tags. You can then also use some sandpaper or a sanding sponge to go around and make sure those edges are clean. Now, using my poster sticker letters again from Dollar Tree, on one of my striped signs, I'm spelling the word stars with those sticker letters just going straight down the middle. Then with my blue star paper, I'm going to use white sticker letters to spell and then on the other striped tag, we have to kind of go at a diagonal to make the letters all fit to spell stripes. Now I wanted again to make these look a little more rustic and worn, so I'm using a dauber here and some of my antique wax and just inking around the edges, and then we'll rub away the excess there again just to make it look a little more worn and old. We'll do this to all 3 of our tag signs. Then once everything's dry, just go ahead and seal everything down with Mod Podge. You'll see I go kind of lightly over the stickers first just to make sure they don't pop up, and then over the whole rest of the tag, and then we'll let that dry completely before we are finished, which would be taking a stylus and just finding that hole again where the jute twine was, and then we're going to return some jute twine to be able to hang these 3 signs. And I think these turned out so cute. You could just have them sitting on a shelf like this, if not hanging up. And I just think they're adorable. And they were very easy to make with just 3 of these tag-shaped signs. DIY number 10, we're going to take 3 of these metal pennant signs from Dollar Tree. They say you're a grand old flag on the one side, and then on the back side they're completely plain, just the galvanized metal. So really simply, I took one of these USA signs, and on the back side of the metal pennant I'm just going to glue these letters. Now if you don't like the glitter, you can go ahead and paint your letters, but this is just a really simple way to take 2 Dollar Tree items and make something new with them. For DIY number 11, we're going to make a huge patriotic wreath using 2 pool noodles and a bunch of florals and greenery and some burlap ribbon. So the first thing I need to do though is I need some tumbling tower blocks. I'm going to make 2 sets of 3 tumbling tower blocks glued together. You can see how I did 2 like a sandwich cookie and then 1 on top. This is going to be like a plug to go inside the end of the pool noodle. We're going to hot glue it in and wedge it in there. This is going to help us put 2 pool noodles together in a circle shape. So there's 1 pool noodle, has the tower blocks in both ends. Now putting some more glue on the blocks and the pool noodle, we're joining that second pool noodle. I did go ahead and put a little clear tape as well, which is fine because we're going to be wrapping some ribbon around our wreath and also adding florals to cover that up. So once I had my big huge pool noodle circle, I took some of the burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree and glued down the end, and then I'm just going to wrap it loosely around my pool noodles so that some of the blue still shows. And here's what it looked like. I didn't go all the way around with the ribbon because now on this bottom part, I'm just going to go to town poking all sorts of red, white, and blue flowers into the pool noodle. And that's what it looks like with just the flowers. Then also taking some greenery from Walmart and adding that in here and there to also fill in the space around the flowers. I really loved this, and then decided to also take these 3 stars from a Dollar Tree sign, and I'm kind of poking the 2 bottom corners into the pool noodle and gluing them in for that bottom one. And then these side ones, I'm just taking hot glue and kind of resting them on the pool noodle behind those flowers. And here is what it turned out to look like. I love this, and it was very inexpensive and easy to make, but makes a big statement. Our last project for this video, I'm taking a watering can from a thrift store and I'm going to give it a patriotic uplift. So I first spray painted the entire thing white, then using some more Dollar Tree contact paper and a wood star, I'm going to trace some stencils. I traced 3 of them, folded my contact paper in half, and then cut them out so that when I'm cutting out these 3 that I traced, I'm actually going to end up with 6 star stencils. Once I have those all cut out, I'm going to then take them and I'm going to adhere them around the can. So 3 on each side. I start with 1 right in the middle, and then I do 1 to the left and the right, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Here's what it looks like with the 3 stars. Then I'm going to tape off the very spout and the handle and spray paint blue. So now removing the paper from the handle and the spout, those are still white, and then we'll also remove those stars that we made with the contact paper, and then those stars will show white underneath. Lastly, to add some red, I'm going to tape off that top section and the top handle of our watering can, And then I'm also going to tape off the spout. And for this, I'm just going to use my crimson chalk paint. I think I did have to do 2 coats just to cover some of that blue spray paint. But also painting there with a smaller brush, the spout, and then this is what we're end up with our watering can. I think it's so cute, and I put some marbles in the bottom and then some sand, and then I used some of these citronella sticks that you can burn to keep mosquitoes away. Well guys, thanks again so much for joining me for part 2 of my top patriotic summer decor DIYs. Please give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps me grow my channel. Let's see if we can get this video to 5,000 likes. And then also let me know in the comments which was your favorite project.